Andy, my boy, it's John from Little Stranger. I just wanted to give you a heads up, man. I know we got this track dropping next week. We're going to try to keep this one pretty close to the chest for the release. I know you like to do teases and stuff beforehand, but on this one, let's just wait. Let's hold off and drop it next Friday. All right? So do me a solid, man. Button it up. I love you. Peace.
Hey guys, it's Andy. How y'all doing? Hope you're kicking ass out there. As you heard from the voicemail, John doesn't want me to release the new song we're doing, but fuck that. You're my podcast fans. We're putting it out right now, 3 days before we release it. The song's called God at a Festival. I did it with Little Stranger. I love this song. I'm really proud of this one we did with the Stranger Boys. I think you're gonna love it. It's about finding truth and finding love through music. So, Chris, play the flutes, baby. Ladies and gentlemen, another song from Andy Frasco and Little Stranger. The song's called God at a Festival. Enjoy it.
Hallelujah, saw your face and I thought I knew ya. Got no gear, but I'm here to school her. Wanna go halves cause I got no moolah. My G.O.D, well you best believe that I'm here to stay. Been a bad boy, but I came back just to say what? Got some butterflies in my gut. I got half a mind to go crazy. I got half a mind to go nuts. Ooh, say who? Got so tired of being so blue. Up till now I've been a mess. A portrait of a broken man and now I must confess. I found God at a festival. She was extraterrestrial. We made love, nothing sexual. I found God at a festival. First time I seen her with the crew, 5'9" with a hula hoop, divine in the mind, no designer boots. On new to the new, I need to bless you. Anything just to be with the amen. Sin, just like many, many men. And I feel like I've been saved by a broad named God at the rave. Amen. I found God at a festival. She was extraterrestrial. We made love, nothing sexual. So now we're moving down to Mexico. Take him to church. So my advice in life when you be dating deities is always remember to be tender and find the peace in thee. Moment, hold it close and make the most of it. But when you go talking about it, don't go be a boasting bitch. Open it just like the pages of a book. Find your nook, climb inside and apply hooks, so you can stay forever in this weather. Whether it's gloomy or sunshine, and I'm just happy I made a life rhyming.
Alright, I get it, Kev. You found what you're looking for early in life. But what about the people who haven't found what they're looking for? Maybe it takes them 100 years to find out what they're looking for. They gotta keep trying. They gotta keep finding themselves. Cause you're not gonna be able to love anyone until you love yourself. So what are you gonna do? Keep giving love to everyone else before you love yourself? Or are you gonna get out there and fucking start taking care of yourself? Whatever, if you wanna go out there and take ayahuasca in the bushes, fucking do it. If you wanna fuck a girl named Wildfire, take a fucking whack at it. Because at the end of the day, this is our life, no one else's. Tell your ex to suck it. Tell your dad that you're worthy. And tell anyone who doesn't believe in you that you deserve love too. Because at the end of the day, here we are. It's you, me, and Dupree. Sincerely, Andy Frasco. I found God at a festival. She was extraterrestrial. We made love, nothing sexual. So now we're moving down to Mexico. I found God at a festival. She was extraterrestrial. We made love, nothing sexual. So now we're moving down to Mexico. So now we're moving down to Mexico. So now we're moving down to Mexico. I found God at a festival. Wow.
Our claps have been good lately.
Our claps have been amazing. Just two dudes wearing sunglasses inside.
Yeah.
Let's fucking go.
Those lights are bright, man. Those fluorescent lights.
Andy Frasco's
Should I put my
World
sunnies
Series
on?
podcast. I'm Andy Frasco. This is my co-host, Nick Gerlach. Just another week surviving.
We're doing it.
We're doing it. We have Jeremiah from the Lumineers, the piano player for the Lumineers, and he does everything else. And I felt like it'd be appropriate to have one of my favorite organ players, one of my favorite piano players.
He's a bad motherfucker.
He's a bad motherfucker. He's in his golden messenger. He's putting out he's going solo like Tupac, people. He's going out there just fucking going solo. We have Sam Fribush. How you doing, buddy?
Andy,
What's up, dude?
I appreciate it.
Dude, new record. What's going on? You excited? Nervous? What's going on?
New record, people please, man. It's out.
You stoked on it or what?
I'm very stoked. Yeah, it's great. The reception has been more enthusiastic than I anticipated.
Yeah, is it hard to be a front man as a piano player? There's not a lot of piano player frontmans out there, you know?
Hell yeah. I mean, to get people interested in instrumental music alone is a challenge.
Yeah,
Yeah, you got a point.
preaching the choir there.
Nick's trying to put out an instrumental record, and it's taking him a little longer than expected.
Almost done.
I love it. I personally think that it's making a comeback.
I do. I think you have a point there. Actually.
What's your philosophy on it? Why do you think instrumental music's making a comeback?
Well, it's just like I just did a tour and all we did was listening to instrumental music in the car for some reason. Like classical, jazz, we just went down this rabbit hole and you can read your book to it. You can just it's not as taxing on the energy in the space, if you will.
I hear you. And then how do you promote instrumental music? Because Jeremiah is putting out his instrumental record.
Yeah, how do you do that?
What's your key? What's your key frame on trying to promote instrumental music?
Well, you have to be kind of good, I think.
Yeah,
that helps.
I mean, you're the GOAT you're the one of the best organ players in the country, dude. We all know that.
Oh, I'm humbled, man. Thank you. I'm trying my best. I mean, I think really like it's the product, if you have a good product that feels good and makes people feel good, makes them kind of want to bob their head or move their feet or whatever it is, it'll sell itself.
Right. And then, cause you are in his golden messenger as well. So it's like, is it feel like you're cheating on your girlfriend for putting out a solo record in your brain, or is it cool? Like everything all kosher?
It's all kosher. It's a polyamorous relationship.
Everyone's fucking the keys.
I gotta say, it has to be a little comforting.
No, everybody
has to be a little comforting when you're making an instrumental record and Charlie Hunter's the guitar player on it.
That's fucking insane.
Yeah, that helps. That helps a lot.
Like, okay, the floor is high here.
Well,
no, the hiss thing is great because we can. Everything helps each other,
Right. That's great. And then what was the connection with Charlie Hunter? Like, how close are you with him? I mean, he's a virtuoso.
Yeah, I mean, I would consider Charlie a mentor of mine. He might not say that. He might say we're just friends or peers or guys who work together. But he has been incredible to me and the whole music community here in Greensboro, North Carolina, where I live and where I was born and raised. And pandemic brought me back here from New Orleans, which is now coming up on 3 years ago.
Holy,
almost
that's
4,
so
I think.
Crazy, dude.
Wow.
And we met during the quarantine and hit it off, and we're playing together almost every day, just practicing and talking about music, hanging. I mean, a lot of music happens, but a lot of just shooting the shit. I mean, he's got amazing jokes and stories, and he's one of the sweetest dudes ever. So,
what did you learn musically about what Charlie's bringing to the game that inspired you to be a better musician?
Well, specifically talking about instrumental music, there's no greater kind of career in that field than Charlie. I mean, Charlie is like holding the torch for instrumental music, and has had an amazing, was on Blue Note in the '90s, his first couple records, and
D'Angelo.
I mean, he captivates a room. If you see him play live, there's nothing really like it in terms of his like intensity and his energy and his connection to the instrument. And I think one of my biggest takeaways from playing with Charlie is just to avoid the acrobatic sort of bullshit that we all kind of get caught up in on Instagram or wherever it is, that these, virtuosic 30 seconds might get a lot of likes and listens, but really it's about the kind of the simpler stuff and playing in the pocket and playing groove and feel as deep as you can, being a mile deep on that stuff rather than a mile wide on how many licks you got. You know what I mean?
That's hot. Deep versus wide.
Make a good movie.
I'd rather be deep
not
than
a good,
wide.
Yeah. Make a good movie, not a good scene.
Both are good. Both are good.
No, I love that. It's it's got to be inspiring. Like, did you ask him to be on the project, or were you guys always talking about this?
It started. He was playing drums a lot at this time. He was really practicing the drums, and I was playing organ. And it was just we were doing it for fun, man. I never really pushed him in any direction. And then one day he came to me and was like, "Let's cut an organ trio record, and I'll play guitar."
Whoa.
And I was like,
"Okay."
Yeah.
Let me see if I
Sign
have
me up.
See that open.
Yeah, so that was
crazy.
the first record, and it was kind of an experiment. It was at this weird time in the streaming distribution game where actually I was able to distribute it on we without a label, on our own, and it kind of popped off in a weird way because it was a record that Charlie was playing 6-string guitar on, where he usually plays this like hybrid 7-8-string guitar.
Right. Is it lonely out there? Are you married? Are you dating anyone? What's going on with your life?
What's the goss?
So I've been working in my backyard quite a bit, which has been really nice. Doing some landscaping, some planting. Been taking care of my 3-year-old mutt. She has a full-time job. Yes, girlfriend. Yes, life is good. Knock on wood. I'm very grateful. I mean, I wake up and I feel fortunate to do this. The new record is out. It's been out about a month, and it seems to be doing great. And now I'm working on some other stuff. So lately, I've been in the studio just writing more instrumental music and keeping the train moving.
There you go.
The grind does not stop for our man Sam Fribush. He, what's the record
you gotta
called?
stay out of your own way.
I know.
What's it called?
Yeah. Before I talk about promoting the record, you're very right. We got to stay out of our own way, right?
That's number one. I mean, there's days that I wake up and I feel like, oh, shit, like I don't feel like doing all this, you know? Like there's so much when you're doing it on your own, there's so much that goes into the grind of promoting and booking and being your own publicist and, making sure you got all the information on the back end and et cetera. And then on top of that, you got to go sit at your instrument and work, Yeah. Like I'm my own biggest critic. And there's days that I'm like, man, I sound like shit.
Yeah.
So
I can sympathize with that.
The work is not. Yeah. I mean, I'm a naturally anxious person, and sitting down at the organ is like, or keys or practicing is one of my ways of meditating.
Yeah. Got to find that balance, baby. That's why everyone needs to go listen to Sam's new album. What's it called, Sam?
People Please.
People Please. Go listen to it anywhere you can find it. I mean, he's got the fucking power. What's up, Sammy?
Exclamation point. People Please. It's like
So is it a request, or are you saying you're kind of a people pleaser?
It's I'd say it is a request. It's kind of like, people please get your shit together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
let's take care of your neighbors, be nice to your friends, love the planet.
Yeah.
People please.
Well, and most
it's kind of like
importantly,
begging, I guess.
And most importantly, love yourself, Sam. Give yourself that time for you to nourish your fucking soul.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, we forget
I
about
mean,
ourselves sometimes when we're people pleasing.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. And there's a lot of people to please
There's a lot
these
of them.
days.
I know, it's fucked up.
7 billion.
Yeah, 7 billion.
Yeah.
Have you heard of volume.com, Sam? Have you heard of
No, what's that?
volume.com is the best for content creators like yourself, Sam. If you ever want to get out of the social media rat race, you should sign up for volume.com because one, it's free. Two, all your live streaming, all your art can be in one place where you can hold them. Shout out to volume.com for sponsoring this podcast, FYI. Sam, you're part of the pitch tonight. And
it looks good.
It looks great, and it's a great, just a great staff that's running this thing. And your fans will love it because you get push notification, Sam. You know what push notification is? I feel like I'm selling you insurance right now.
It's not a drawbar. It's not a drawbar.
It's not a drawbar. Push notification gets your fan base. Make sure anytime you put anything out on volume.com, they're the first ones to check it out. So everyone go check out volume.com and go check out Sam Fribush's new record, People Please.
People Please.
People Please. Sam, I love you, buddy. When are we going to see each other again?
When can I see you?
Are you coming to North? Actually, I'm coming to Denver.
When?
In June.
Oh, with his?
No, actually, I'm coming out there to do some recording with Adam Deitch.
Oh, nice.
Lettuce.
Here we go.
That's my bud.
That's a good combo.
Yeah.
Deitch and Fribush.
Yeah.
I like that. What are you guys doing?
Yep, we got some other people in the works, some New Orleans homies too. So
cool.
I'll definitely hit you up when I'm there.
Hit me
a couple days in June.
Yeah, and if you need a place to stay with me.
You sold.
Done. Let's get some hang time in.
If you need a tenor player, hit me up.
Yeah. If you need a tenor, yeah, Deitch.
I used to play with Melvin Ryan. I know some organ stuff.
Hell yeah. Yeah, get Nick a gig because we're broke over here in the Frasco commune.
We're doing all right.
We're doing all right. All right, guys, enjoy. Thanks, Sam. You're the man. I can't wait for people to fucking keep recognizing. Fucking don't beat yourself up over petty shit, buddy. You know we're family here.
Got some great Instagram videos so far.
Yeah, go watch his Instagram. Yeah, what's your handle?
Fly Fry.
Fly Fry.
I'm not just blowing smoke up his ass. Sam really is one of the greatest organ players.
He's a bad motherfucker.
You're a bad motherfucker, Sam. And I guess we could he recorded a couple organ tracks on our new record, they fucking crushed, dude. We're stoked to have you on the project.
Yeah,
I heard he did it during sound check or something.
Yeah,
right?
he did it. How'd you record them? I think.
Yeah, we. It was funny. I made the front of house guy turn the house music off. I was like, I got to do something real quick.
That's
and
so good.
it was a His Gold Messenger gig, so I had my whole organ rig set up. We have a great front of house guy named Luke Soar, and so he had it all mic'd up already. So we used our whole rig and pop the tunes in. I was like going over the tunes in the green room, and like Mike Taylor and some of the guys were standing around being like, okay, Sammy, what you gonna put on this?
Pressure's on, bitch.
I think that's the coolest shit. Recording organ during sound check at a gig. That's like that's the real shit.
Sometimes
Sam.
you get better writing when you're on a timeline like that too. You just.
I know. I didn't make it easier. I'm like, I need these tracks immediately.
Yeah, but there's an advantage to that. You make a decision.
Yeah.
I know. I was like, can it wait till next week, or do you need it by Friday? You'd be like, Friday would be great.
You're the man. And, like I said, go check out Sam's music. He's one of the greatest. And if you're on the road, go check him out. He plays organ and piano for His Golden Messenger. Sam Fribush, thanks for being on the show. We have Jeremiah from the Lumineers, keyboard piano player of the Lumineers. Big show tonight. Sam and Jeremiah.
Wow.
Fucking keyboard legends.
You're the third best piano player on your show today.
I'm the third best. Yeah. That's fucking horrible. Thank God.
Actually, I might be better than you at piano.
Yeah, I'm the fourth best. I think I'm the fourth best piano player.
I'm kidding.
It's all piano this
I'm
week,
kidding.
baby. Let's get it popping. Sam, thanks for being on the show. Enjoy Jeremiah from the Lumineers, guys, and we'll catch you next week. with Gavin Rosdale from Bush. Let's go.
He was great.
He was great. Thanks, Sam. Love you, buddy.
Thanks, Andy.
You're the-
Much love.
Love you, buddy. Wow, round 2 with one of the goats. Jeremiah, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well, man. Thanks for having me back. Excited to be here.
Dude, the first time I looked at your schedule, the first time I saw no tour dates, it must feels awesome, bro. Just to chill out.
It feels nice to chill out. There is also that sense of withdrawal where you're home for a few weeks and you're like, man, that tour was intense, and then and then you miss it again. So
the FOMO.
Yeah.
Never.
How do you
pleased.
get through that? How do you get through that in your head, bro? Because you've been touring forever, and you go home, and then I know you have a kid now and a wife.
Yeah,
but
2 kids
you
now.
Wow.
Congrats.
Let's go, bro. Let's go.
Thank you so much.
We're getting those genes out there.
Yeah, I'm doing.
But how do you get through that in your head? It's like, how do you change your point of view of like, I'm always touring, now I'm slowing down?
It's hard. I think for me, and I think every musician is probably somewhat similar, but everyone has their own way of dealing with it. I think for me, when I'm home for more than like 3 weeks, and I go back on tour, and it's maybe like could be 4 weeks, could be 8 weeks. I think that the first few days back on tour, landing in a new city, a new country, living out of a bag again, I don't like that. And then after 3 or 4 or 5 days, you get really used to it, and everything sort of like simplifies on tour because you just have your backpack and you have all your clothes and essentially your whole life in these bags. So you're living in a simplified means. You're on a tour. You have a schedule set out for you almost down to the minute. You're doing all these shows. So then when you go home, and you have this house and all this space, and you no longer live out of a bag. It's amazing. But it's also oddly overwhelming. And then, when you get back home, you're like, finally, my own bed, my cup of coffee, the way I do it, cook my pasta the way I do it. And then sometimes you're like grocery shopping for milk at 4 days into home, and you're like, oh man, I miss the road. That just happens. It's like the grass is always greener or something. But both, I just feel really blessed that we have both because we're probably more on tour than we are home in the last decade. But that's
crazy.
That's a good sign. Business is good, I guess, in that regard. And we're really lucky to travel. And I remember when Wes and I started the band probably 18 years ago. But the first album, though, I guess came out 10 or 11 years ago. One of the 10-year goals was to go to Europe. And we did that on the first record. And I think as an American band, the idea of leaving the United States was like, well, even if we went to Canada, but Europe was this 10-year goal. And we were lucky enough to do that in the first record. And then just going to places like Asia and South Africa and New Zealand and all these other, South America. We finally just went back there. After 9 years of not going there, it was amazing. It was just so cool to be in we're in Colombia, we're in Argentina, we're in Brazil. And it's really surreal to try to take stock of all that. It's hard when you're moving so much. It is hard to take stock of that. It is hard to realize what is happening. Only when you stop, and sort of ponder, you're like, wow, that's a lot.
Yeah. Did you think 18 years ago you'd be selling out baseball fields?
I think I had a feeling that something was going to work, but what that meant was not this. I think what I thought was going to happen was that I'd be happy and I'd be able to make it work, and that me and Wes, we would be able to make it work. I think you plan for it to go maybe the way it went, but you don't have any indicators, and you have to be a little bit naive, a little bit crazy, a little bit stupid to think it's actually going to work out.
Yeah, dude.
That's so practical, yeah.
And I think that,
I went to your first show. My girlfriend in the time was from Amsterdam. I went to your first Paradiso show with her.
No way.
And yeah, dude, watching you in the church, I think it made me fall in love for the first time, dude. It was so romantic. You guys are out there. You guys are out in the pillars, and it was very special.
Is that Amsterdam, you said?
Yeah, Paradiso, that old church.
Yeah, we've played there I think a few times, and it's just so cool to. That's so rad you were there. Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. And it's like just to see the joy in your face. I mean, you guys inspired me. Flowers in Your Hair was the song that inspired me to keep going with music. When I first heard that record, the whole record was fire. I mean, you write great tunes, man. I want to talk about your lyrics as well, but that first record was, lightning in a bottle. Did you feel that right away, or did it take a while for you to understand that this record was that powerful?
I felt that it was. I remember when we were getting the mixes back. We were getting them back from. I was back in Denver, and we were getting them back, and we were burning them on CDs and listening for the mix. And I remember the first time sitting on like a friend's couch, and nobody knew who we were. We were called the Lumineers at that point. The record was done. I had it on a burned CD. We were in a friend's house in Denver by 10, 11 years ago, whatever it was. And I was like, do you guys want to listen to our new album coming out? And people were like, I don't know, dude. Like, do I? Like,
sure, yeah, send it to me.
Some dude's like new band, like that usually doesn't, I don't know if that goes well ever. So they're like, yeah, sure, whatever. And then after even Flowers in Your Hair, I remember one girl was like, yo, this is like actually good. Like, kind of.
That is a great compliment, though.
I remember listening to it, and this was a really cool experience. We opened up for U2, and Bono was telling us this crazy story. We only met him really once backstage at the first of like the 10 shows we opened up for them. And Bono was telling us this really cool perspective he had, where he was saying like, when he's listening to their latest release, he's like, when you listen to that with your own ears, you're listening to it as the way you are, like you help create that. But when other people are in the room, he's like, that's kind of our litmus test for if it's good or not. He's like, when other people are in the room and you're listening to the new album, you're listening through their ears. And I think that moment when I was listening to our debut record in a group of some people I knew, some people I didn't, I was like listening through it. And I was like, this is, in my mind, I just felt like it was undeniable. Not in the sense of like, this is going to be a chart topping blah, like anything like superficial like that. I just thought this is honest music. I know this is good. If this doesn't work out, and like if every review is nasty, I still know it's good. And
that's awesome.
I think that's also attributed to, there's this great Tom Petty documentary we saw, and he said, you have your 20 years to write your first record and 2 years to write your second record.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's really what happened with the first record. We had different band names, and me and Wes probably wrote close to 75 to 100 songs before Flowers in Your Hair, before that first record. So it was like, that really literally was like the greatest hits of 10 years, or maybe 8 years before anyone knew who we were. So we had all these songs to choose from, and we chose those. And then the only thing left over for album 2 was like a snippet of Sleep on the Floor, snippet of Ophelia.
Oh, shit.
There were some other things, but it was like, those were the best songs that we chose for the first record. They were all done, and we were like, this is the vibe. And it was music I felt like all the other songs we were writing before that debut album, I was like, I don't know. I'm really glad that we didn't find any success with those other songs, because I don't know if I would have still believed in it. But with this songs, I was like, I feel like I'll believe in this when I'm 50, when I'm 60, because there's something about, I think we were not necessarily trying to make something timeless, but just make something that, I don't know, it was honest. And I feel like it's like a cheesy word sometimes, but it just really felt honest. It felt like we're doing this and we're trying to, every 5 or 10 years too, every next band, it's like a victim of circumstance, where there's just so many bands and so many songs. What can you do to stand out from the rest? I think there's something like, I think 80,000 songs are uploaded to Spotify every day.
Holy shit, really?
It's some staggering numbers. So like, if you want to start a band, good luck.
It's like, welcome home, brother.
Count the AI ones.
What are you going to do? Yeah. I mean, what are you going to do?
The people doing it
to stand out? And I think those were a lot of conversations we had, a lot of philosophical conversations about what can we do to stand out? And then like, even the decisions to intentionally not do things musically helped us stand out. I think like that first record, There's almost no drums on it. It's very bare. It's very minimalistic.
Yeah.
I think we were like kind of obsessed with this idea of minimalism and like, let's just get to the point, the melody, help the storytelling, the production of the song, how to make it, how to emote something through speakers to people that don't know your band and why they should listen to you and all that. So, and that's what we've continued all the way through. We've made 4 Lumineers records, and I made a solo album, Piano 1. I got a new one coming out, and I think that it's the same. Even though my solo projects don't have lyrics, it's like it's the same. It's the same idea. It's just trying to make something that honest and trying to make something that when I'm home alone and when I hit spacebar, if it moves me in some way. And just to have that feeling again, if you can listen to it with somebody else on the couch and they're like, yeah, that's hitting them, that's just a great feeling. That's what you strive for. You don't always get it right, but that's what you go for sure.
Is it hard to like not feel like you need to be pigeonholed into a certain sound as you make records? Like you guys are always developing your sound, but like, are there outside sources saying like, why can't it sound like the first record or the second record, or do you guys not care about that?
No, we're so lucky in that regard. We don't care. We wouldn't listen if anybody said that, and we literally don't have anybody saying that. I mean, we finished the record. We don't have like A&R people in the studio. Our managers don't come into the studio and be like, "Hey, fellas, there's no single."
That's a great way to make a good song.
Hey, this is Johnny Two Tones. We need another single, kid.
Yeah, I don't watch you do spreadsheets. You don't come watch me do music.
Yeah, that would be a really like kind of lame vibe. So we're really lucky in that regard. And I love this idea. I just recently saw a clip of that famous producer Rick Rubin, where he was sort of like, the audience should be like the last consideration when making art. And I think that that's really actually profound, and some people might be like feel insulted by that as an audience member, but I think it's actually ironically the best way to serve the audience is to ignore them, is to make something that is so personal and so beautiful to you that will actually probably translate to more people at the end of the day. And if you try to come up with an algorithm like, what were the top 50 songs of this year? Let's find an average BPM. What key? Oh, it was all in C major. Oh, okay. What did they do? That would just be like a really weird way to go about it, I think, and wouldn't be musical or artistic. Also, I guess so.
True.
We just make what we want, and it's a selfish endeavor, but it actually seems to help our selfishness seems to help our music translate across to a lot of people. So that's good.
My man, I mean, this man writes hits. He's been writing hits for fucking 15 years. He knows what he's talking about.
But like, there's something to be said for being that confident in your first album too. Like, that's so artistically, like it's how you should be.
So do you feel that way towards? So now you're making your second. You're going solo like Tupac, Jeremiah. How do you feel? How do you feel about the same without having like everyone else, your band there with you? How do you feel about writing music by yourself? Do you feel that same confidence?
Yeah, I think it's like, I think my level of confidence with songwriting is sort of boiled down to this idea. I've always kind of loved this idea that it's like the day you say you're good at something is probably the day you start to decline in that. So like the day I'm like, oh man, I'm an awesome dad. This is like autopilot. It's like, you're not going to show up as much. And I think the day that you're like, I got this thing down, music is so easy. It's like, it's definitely the day where you're like, you're going to make like the worst album ever. And you're just going to be delusional and be like, I'm on album 15. Nobody likes it around me, but they're all crazy. I know this is good. I never want to be that in that delusional band where we're like on our 29th album. Because I'm not going to say any bands, but there's been like so many bands that have like broken my heart with like, they've gotten so big. They've strayed so far from like the source material that made me a diehard fan for life.
Yeah.
And I'm just sometimes like, what are you guys doing? Like, this is so crazy, but people got to do what's going to make them happy. But I think with Piano and the side project, it's that playful exploration. It's that the confidence is like, it's not even, there's probably no confidence other than like, I'm going to work on it until I think it's good. And then when it's finished, it's sort of that ambiguous, like, you know, it's easier to know when it's not done, and then at some point you're like, this is done. And you know, working just instrumental, trying to figure out, you know, not trying to use too many strings, but wanting to branch out from the piano. So the album is really, it always based around the piano. And on this album, I did something different than on the first piano record, which was I did a Radiohead cover called "No Surprises" with Gregory Alan Isaacoff, and that was really cool because for me, Radiohead's my like favorite band. They've influenced me so many times that every time they release an album, it's just like this paradigm shifting piece of art that's just always like smoked me and it's been so inspiring. So I always loved that song, and I started learning the piano, and I thought, you know, it would be really cool to get a singer on this record, but just on one song is like an arbitrary rule. And me and Gregory, we had become close. He'd come on tour with the Lumineers. We've been on tour like a few times now. We got really close on tour. He was a really big champion of the first record, Piano. You know, he has like a farm up in Boulder where he lives.
Right.
And he's like, dude, whenever we're like washing the veggies, like, you know, piano's on. Like, I just thought that was really cool that, you know, someone like him who is so lyrically driven and so songwriter driven got my solo album instrumental record. I was like, man, that's just a huge compliment. He asked me to open up for him at Red Rocks, which I did last year with the solo project, which was like insane.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was me and 3 string players and a drummer at Red Rocks last September, I guess like 5 or 6 months ago. And that was like a dream come true. So I called him up and I was like, do you want to be on the piano too? You know, I got this idea. I was on tour with the Lumineers at the time, and he said, yeah, let's try some stuff out. Let's collaborate. So I sent him, you know, I don't know how much, you know, you're a musician. So there's 12 keys. You got C major, C sharp major, D major. Yeah. So I think I sent him the song of No Surprises in literally like 11 keys. What is it? Like 12 keys? Like, because he was like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm feeling this one. So I think I sent him like 5 or 6 different keys. And there were certain parts of the song where we both agreed, like, it's cool when your voice goes low here, but then it's like kind of too high here, but then it's like too low there, all that stuff. So we just went through like key after key. And I think I sent him all 12 keys. And then there was one key in particular, and this is the one we landed on, but there was one key in particular. It was hard too, because he would send me these like beautiful takes that were all pristine, and they were all like, each one was better than the last. And I was like, shit, they're all good. How am I going to pick one? And I remember I was on tour. We just played a show. My wife and our 2 kids, they were asleep, and I was in this hotel room and all the lights were off, and it was like 1:00 in the morning. And I was still awake, and I listened to, you know, 5 or 6 different voice memos he sent me. And there was just this one, and I tried to do like a blind test. I didn't want to know what I was listening to. I just wanted to listen to one. And at like 3rd or 4th listen in, something just hit me where I was like levitating out of the hotel room. And I was like, what's this key? And I think it was D sharp major. And I texted him and I was like, dude, this one is just smoking me right now, man. Just do this one. He was like, all right, that's great. You know, and it was just such a cool way to collaborate. It was like we never actually met up in person one time. I organized a lot. I orchestrated all like the strings and the piano. He tried out some guitar. The track sort of rejected the guitar. But man, what he did with his vocals was just so crazy and life-changing.
He's special, man.
He's so special, and he is such just like microscopic attention to detail. So he did a lead track. He did a couple background vocals, but in the song, people that know the song No Surprises, on the final chorus, in like classic Tom York fashion, there's these great lyrics. I never even knew what he was singing, but I guess he's singing "Get Me Out of Here." And I have a terrible singing voice, but it's sort of this like, it's very deep in the mix, and it's like reverbed out and like, get me out. Like it's very, you can't even understand what he's saying. And I was like, yo, Gregory, if you want to try to, you know, emulate some sort of like, you know, record yourself 10 times and just have fun with it. And what he sent back, I was like, holy shit, this is just, dude. He did it, and he stacked, you know, 10 or 15 Gregories, and I had goosebumps, and I was like, wow, this is like, I was hoping for a home run with him, and it was total grand slam. So yeah,
it's amazing.
It was just really, really cool to work with him on that.
Think about this a lot, Jeremiah. Like, you live in Italy and stuff. Like, being in a band's all about camaraderie and trying to like bonding with your brothers. And then you get later in your career and everyone disperses, has families, kids. Like, how hard is it to like connect with the boys when you're fucking 10-hour time zones away? Like, how do you like bond still?
I think that it's about showing up. And I love this idea that somebody said that like 99% of life is showing up. And I guess what I mean by that is like, in our case, the core of the band, me and Wes started the band 18, 19 years ago. And then the touring band is me and Wes, of course. And then we have Stealth on piano, Byron on bass, Brandon on like auxiliary, basically every instrument. And then Lauren Jacobson on violin, piano, singing. And we find ways, we'll do like random Zooms where we all like connect because nobody lives in the same state anymore. I think that we have a band member in Cali, Arizona, Colorado, New York, Tennessee, and I'm in Italy. So the power of technology, we'll do like a Zoom call and we'll kind of meet in the middle because I'm 9 hours ahead of LA time. So my band, they're very nice and they always kind of help we all find an average that works. And when we're on tour, it's really great. That's the easiest time to connect. Maybe you go out, if you're near an ocean, maybe let's go swimming and let's get an ice cream. Or we love this Italian card game called Scopa. When I met my wife, Francesca, years ago, I got into this game called Scopa. And we used to play every night whenever we were dating, and I'd go over to Italy, me and my wife and her parents, we play Scopa every night after dinner. It's this amazing Italian card game. The whole band got like really obsessed with it. And my father-in-law, whenever he'd come on tour, he'd give out decks of cards because they're like specific decks. They're not like
a different deck. Okay,
it's not like Ace through King. There's all the Italian names, and I think I've single-handedly taught close to like 30 or 40 crew members how to play the game. So it's no joke. The Lumineers love this game Scopa, so we play that a lot on tour. And then then it's like, okay, tours. We just finished 2 years of tour. Now it's like, everybody scatters like cockroaches into the wind. And you just try to find ways, maybe simple text here and there or Zoom calls and just ways to connect. And obviously, like at the same time, some space is nice and healthy. And then when you see each other again, to start doing rehearsals or getting back in the studio or to resume a tour, it's an incredible feeling. The embraces you feel to see each other again, to be around each other again.
After a 2-year tour, I'd be like, get the fuck up. My band, get out of here.
That's what I was thinking. I was thinking, absence makes the heart grow fonder.
2-year tour, man, a world tour. That's dude. When you booked that thing, was it like, oh shit, this is real? I'm about to be on tour for 2 years, or did you like schedule it good because you have kids now? So like, how is that in your head?
I think it's easier in some way that you're not seeing how the sausage is made. You're not part of the tour booking process. You're just part of the approval process. And obviously, sometimes it's like a long PDF will be sent to us and say, this is 6 weeks in Europe. You guys see any red flags about too many shows in a row? Or, hey, there's like a snag with the routing. We might have to get off the bus and take a ferry. But most of the time it's like, that works. It seems good. It seems cool.
They know what they're doing.
It's a little bit easier maybe because it's almost like somebody else is like saying, well, we think this would be the best thing to do. How does this look to you guys? And we're like, we see no red flags, or, oh, wow, we're doing like Wrigley Field. Like, fuck yeah, that sounds amazing.
It's crazy.
And it's not, it's not 2 years straight. It is a lot. The breaks, sometimes you're out for like a month and maybe you go home for 5 or 6 days and then you're out for another 2 months. I think it was 2 years ago in 2022, I left my house for about 4 months, and that was pretty atypical. I think what had happened was after COVID and the world started to open up, like if you take a garden hose and you hold it and then you release it, the water shoots out. I think that's what happened with every band in the world. So we were one of those many bands that were like, we missed it so much. I think a lot of fans missed not obviously just the Lumineers, but just so much live music and concerts. So think it was Making Up Lost Time, and it was yeah, I did like this little experiment. Just it was a fun thing where I took a photo a day with like a Polaroid or an Instax Fujifilm camera, and posted one photo a day on Instagram, and it was like, you know, day 1 and then day 17 and then like day 89, and
holy shit!
I think I got up. I remember day 115. It might have even been like day 120 or something, but yeah, that was a lot. Like that was insane. And you know, when you went home, you're like, I'm happy to be home right now. That was, but it was also, I don't know, it was amazing. It was life changing. It was so rewarding in so many ways, and you know,
pretty surreal.
Yeah.
Pretty fucking surreal, bro. Like stadiums in different countries.
Baseball stadiums too. That's especially cool. The history of it and just like.
What was the biggest one? What were you like? Holy shit! Like it just like it was like gigantic. Like what? The
I think
hell is
I think
going on?
Wrigley Field had that. Like, oh wow, this is crazy. I think it was, for me, it was like in some weird way, like 10 times more fun to play that stadium than it was to do the baseball stadium in Denver. And I think because, you know, it was like my parents were at the Denver show. We were from Denver, you know, sort of. We're really from Jersey, but Denver's become such a second home that, you know, we lived here for more than 10 years. And I think there was just so much pressure and so much buildup to, like, you know, we're playing Colorado Rockies baseball stadium. It's crazy. And
it's crazy.
It was our first bona fide stadium as like a headliner. Yeah. So I think that first one was just a lot of like nerves and a lot of like in my own head. I think a little bit for all of us. So then when we got to Wrigley in Chicago, it was just like, let's just have fun. And I think just even the physicality of Wrigley, like we started the show, we're playing a song called Bright Side, where I come out of the bottom of the stage and a riser starting this big drum beat. And when I came out, I looked to my left and I just saw like an ocean of people, and it was so far back, the stands, and it was so high. And I just remember doing like a slow pan and just being like, oh, like it literally looked like an ocean and a tidal wave of people. And I was just like, oh shit, this is that addictive feeling that I kind of alluded to at the beginning of our talk, where some bands that have broken my hearts artistically, I think what probably happens is you get that feeling. It's so addictive where you're like, there's 42,000 people there. And that's like tip of the iceberg. I mean, look what Taylor Swift's doing. Look what Coldplay's doing. They're doing like 80, 90,000 people sometimes in these soccer stadiums all over the world.
Multiple nights.
You know, multiple nights. Wembley holds 75, 80,000 people in England. So I think what happens at some point is you're like, let's just do that all the time. And you can't make music. You can't just make any music you want and do that. I would say you could probably count on one hand the amount of bands that got to the stadium level naturally. And like I would throw U2 in there, even though like Bono's like such a showman, such like and they wrote like stadium rock hit, but like you can tell certain bands they were like, we want to become stadium. Like look at even Coldplay, like they went from Parachutes and Rush of Blood to the Head. At some point you could tell, and that there's nothing wrong with that, but you could tell Coldplay was like, we want to be like a big band. We want to be a stadium band, like globally. We want to be in Brazil doing like 5 nights. I think they did 14 nights at like the biggest soccer stadium in Argentina, Buenos Aires.
Damn.
And to each his own. But I think that, you know, there's something to keep that in check, where I don't think we ever really wrote anything like, in fact, I know we never wrote stuff to be like, well, this is going to like maybe move the needle and get us into stadiums. I think we're getting in there slowly. We're dipping our toes. Things like Rocky Stadium, things like Wrigley are crazy.
Right.
And those are definitely moments. There was actually a really funny moment too. A long time ago, we played in Canada. And it was a festival. Forget what it was called, where it was, but I just remember it was in Canada. And I remember for some reason, the band, none of us were together. Maybe we had like a 6 or 7 day break where we all went home, or we all like, again, scattered to the wind. And we all met up in Canada. And it was like, you know, everybody flew to the airport. Some of us went to the hotel. We met in the green room. We never saw the stage because our beautiful, amazing crew set up all of our instruments. There was no sound check because it was so dialed in. We played probably like already 150 shows that year, so we don't even need to sound check anymore.
Right.
So we're like backstage hanging out with each other, and we all hug each other. We're like, all right, let's go play the show. And we walk out on stage, and I think there was like 63,000 people out there. And we had no idea because it was sort of this perfect storm. It was this perfect storm of like, it was a festival in Canada, maybe Vancouver, Toronto, I forget which city, where it's like a 10-day festival. And it was the first, maybe like the first Friday of that festival. And we were one of the headliners.
Yeah.
So all the Canadians, they're going to go to that more than like the Wednesday show. Right. So it was like a perfect storm that we had a lot of fans in Canada, but it was also like the first Friday, people want to go out, let loose.
Right.
So it was crazy. They were like the only two bands ever to beat that was like Sting and the Foo Fighters. And we were like, all right, that's pretty good.
I've heard of them.
Let's fucking go, Jeremy. I'm clapping for you, buddy.
No, but
let's go.
It was funny because we were on stage. I remember being on the drums and looking at somebody and just being like just this kind of like, and that actually prompted us to be like, if we ever have, more than, I don't know, 10 days or 2 weeks apart from each other, we should play before the show. Cause we went onto that stage so cold. We hadn't seen each other and we were like, let's do the show, cause you just, at some point you're just going, you don't even know where you are half the time.
Autopilot. Yeah.
And it was actually like, it was cool, but it was also so unnerving that it was a good problem to have, but we were like, that was really like wild. And it was just shocking to be on stage and you're like, oh, damn.
Yeah, we should probably have a little band practice before we do a little 62,000.
Hey, there's a small city in the Midwest here.
You're playing to a population of a town right now.
They're Rust Belt town.
What about, so, I mean, you guys write such anthemic songs. Like, was it like hard to like transition the set into these stadium sets? I mean, your songs are so intimate, but they're also so anthemic. Like, how was the approach of like picking a set that really translated well to 63,000 people? Like the power. Like, what you guys had? Did that take a while to?
I feel like
fix?
It was easy in the sense that with the first record, which was like, if you listen to it again, it's very minimalistic. It's very at times somber. There is Ho Hey, there is Flowers in Your Hair, there is Stubborn Love. But there's songs like Slow It Down. There's songs that are very not necessarily your upbeat, type song. And I think that we saw so much success with the first album, and we had done so many shows. We were touring and playing like maniacs, that the first album cycle almost lasted like 3 or 3.5 years, because the typical album cycle is supposed to last like 18 to 24 months.
Yeah.
But we had already been touring on that album before it came out for like at least a year.
Right.
So then it came out, it struck a chord with a lot of people. And then we started doing these shows where I remember it's just that thing that will never happen again. And it was the coolest fucking feeling in the world, where shows started to go on sale in like Seattle, and you'd get that email, that call, hey, the show at the 600 cap venue in Seattle just sold out. We got to bump it up to 1,200 people. And you're like, what? The show's 3 weeks out. And then sometimes even on that first tour, when the album was out and Ho Hey was going nuts and everything was happening, they'd be like, hey, Chicago, we had to go from 1,000 to a 2,000 cap. And then that sold out too fast. So now we got to go to like a 5,000 cap. And you're like, all right, this is crazy. And then I remember that phone call where they're like, the tickets for your Madison Square Garden first show are going to go on sale this Saturday. And then getting a call, it'd be like, the Garden is sold out in like 27 minutes. We got to put a second show on. And we're like, holy shit, this is just...
Oh my God.
And me and Wes, coming from North Jersey, that was like the Mecca. I mean, if you're coming from Colorado, it's probably like, I got to play Red Rocks. And this was like the Garden.
Gotta play the Garden, baby.
And it was like... And then we started playing Coachella and Lollapalooza. So I'm getting to answering your question. So we were playing all these festivals, and we were getting really good time slots because we just kept getting bigger and bigger so fast. But we only had that first record, and we were like, I remember early on we noticed a lot of bands at festivals were playing the heavy stuff, the fast stuff, screaming, getting very loud. And we were almost like, we might stand out if we're like not doing that. And if people lean in, if you remove stuff, if you play songs with no drums, it was a little bit of like strategic alchemy. And it was also just circumstantial. We literally only had those 10 or 11 songs, and they were like, it's a 60-minute set. That's what we're paying you to do. And
well,
like,
we had to.
This album, live clocks out at like 34 minutes. So we're going to have to play some covers and stuff.
Yeah. You guys know any Neil Young?
Yeah. So we were playing a lot of those quieter, softer songs, and it still seemed to really do well. Like, like Flapper Girl. We were playing that at like huge festivals. But we were trying to do things, though, that me and Wes always talked about this early on, and we still talk about it, is this idea of like non-musical moments that, like, unless you're like jazz or classical genre, it's pretty unlikely that people are going to see a band and be like, I saw this band last night. They played so well. It was awesome. Like if you see Noah Kahan or Zach Bryan or Bon Iver, you're not going to be like, they were so precise on their instruments last night. It's like, it's going to be something that they did that was not musical that is going to make you a fan for life. And I think that with the song Flapper Girl, there's this little like piano solo. And what we would do is sometimes we'd either bring a fan on stage and we had this little toy piano, and I'd give that toy piano to somebody, like some random fan. And then I'd play this like, piano solo on this like janky ass toy piano, or we'd play Ho Hey in the crowd. Even if it was like 70,000 people at a festival, we'd find a way to go play Ho Hey in the crowd. Like, just like doing these things that were not musical. So I think, some people call that gimmick. Some people call that a shtick. I think it was like, you call it what you want. When you drive 12, 15 hours to your next gig and you want to make this your career, you'll do anything to like get people to notice you. And I think that if you can do it again in an honest way, in a way that is like honest to your craft, I think it was like these effective things that we did, and we still do. And I think that some people do it louder than others. Jimi Hendrix lighting his guitar on fire. That's like one of those examples where that's not musical at all, but people will talk about that till the sun explodes,
Almost more.
No, I agree. I mean, you guys are the reason why I get in the crowd. I saw your first show and I saw you guys out there in the crowd doing these. You know who else was really good at that? Damien Rice. Damien Rice was great about.
I didn't know he did that actually.
Oh, he was the man. He'd go in there and make it'd be just pin quiet. But like,
I've seen Arcade Fire do it really well. I've seen and sometimes you can make people lean in a different way too. I've seen Bon Iver and Gregory Alan Isaacoff do it really well too.
Greg does a good job.
Gregory does this thing really well where he gets an Omni microphone, a mic that records.
Yeah.
And he'll put it like at the front of the stage, and he'll get all of his acoustic band members that all have acoustic instruments that just to play around him. And it's sort of this like light, dim, lean in moment. And then when you play something anthemic or loud after that, that contrast is really great. And I think that, that anticipation that you tease people along, and if you're just loud the whole set, it's fatiguing, it's boring.
Yeah.
If you're just quiet the whole set, that can be great too. Like some artists like they're like ninjas with that. Like you only want to see them be quiet, and somehow they pull that off. I don't know how to do that well, but I think finding that mix, finding that balance is the key.
That's why you're so good at it. What about your kids? Man. They're 6-year-old now. Do they give you the guilt trip of you leaving now? Like, where you going now? God damn it!
I'll say this.
Yeah,
it's our son. I'm trying to think. When he was younger, I'm trying to think. When he was like my daughter's age, he must have been older than 2, because my daughter now is, I guess, 2, going on 2.5, and she has no idea when I'm leaving. Obviously, I kiss her. Obviously, I hug her goodbye. But if I said I'm leaving for 2 days or 2 years, she would be like, "Bye, Daddy."
Yeah.
The hardest thing in the world, and this was so heartbreaking, was that like I probably left on 7, 8, 9 different tours. And then there was that one tour where he was probably 2.5 or 3, and he understood what it meant for dad to leave.
Oh no.
What do you mean you're going? Like having some sort of like semblance of a concept of like dad's going away for like a long time, crying and like, don't go. And like, where are you going? And like, that was just like, like knife in the heart. Now it's obviously like you have like a big boy conversation about it where I'll start prepping him like 2 months out, like, a month out, like Tommaso, in a month, daddy's leaving for like 3 weeks, and then maybe like 2 weeks before. But he gets it, he's come on so many tours. He saw more of the world at his age of 5 than I saw the first like 28 years of my life. Like it's unbelievable what he's seen, and he doesn't probably even realize that he's seen a lot of the world. It's just been normal for him. Like, oh yeah, we're going to London next week, or Brooklyn, or like LA, or going to Paris again this month. And it's, I took my first flight when I was 19 and saw the Pacific Ocean, and I was like, I can die now. I saw the Pacific Ocean. Holy shit.
I flew Southwest.
I literally like verbalized that out to my friend Todd, who we went with. I was like, dude, we just saw the Pacific Ocean. That will never happen again.
Let's go get jobs.
Yeah.
Damn.
And so,
Let's go get jobs.
But I'm sure it's cyclical too, where they love coming on tour. And I'm sure when my son turns like 12 or 13, 14 or 15, it's going to be that thing where he loves to travel. And then he might be like, Dad, I want to stay with my friends, or I want to stay with my girlfriend, or I just want to stay home and like chill. I don't want to go on tour. That's going to be like a whole nother challenge where I'm going to be like, well, I'm going on tour for 6 weeks. Like, I want you to come, and can't force you kids to come. But so I think it's going to be cyclical and then maybe when they turn like 20 or 24, they might be like, oh, wow, the novelty of traveling. I'm sure they'll be super sick of our music at that point. But
no, you're gonna put them in the band. You're like, you're the bass player now, Tommaso.
They're gonna want to open. They're gonna want to open. Okay, open for you.
What a hip name, Tommaso. Is that how you pronounce it, Tommaso?
Yeah, my Italian counterparts, it's like they really pronounce the double M. It's like Tommaso. Tommaso, vieni qua, Tommaso. I call him T-Bone, Tommy, Tom.
He made it.
He had a nickname at one point. His nickname on tour was called Tater Tot because he was just destroying tater tots in the catering.
I can identify with that.
So, but it needed to be a name that I could pronounce also. So like Tommaso, I was like, that's Italian, but I can do that. With our daughter, her name is Dakota, and I say Dakota. Like my mother-in-law is like Dakota, it's like very, it's just how it is. It's very different, the pronunciation. Same with me. Like I'm sometimes like Jeremiah, because the J actually doesn't exist in the Italian alphabet, which is something I learned a while ago. But my wife, she loved another name at some point, and I was like, I literally can't pronounce that. It can't be that name.
Yeah.
But we landed on Dakota at some point. I forget even, where it even came from. We just thought it was a beautiful name. And when she was born, we were like, we got it right.
Does your wife, when she's really pissed at you, just start yelling at you in Italian?
No,
like,
both.
It's
both.
It's both.
She's well versed in also the English at this point. But it's funny actually. Like when I'm over there, I mean, we live there most of the time. If I like drop my phone on the sidewalk, I will like curse in Italian. It's just just comes naturally. And then if I, do something stupid here, equally, which is all the time in America, I'll be cursing in English. But your brain starts to switch. It's weird.
It's crazy.
Where I live in Turin, it's very Italian in that, like, it's definitely not Milan. It's not Rome.
Yeah.
Right,
it's not a tourist city. So if I go into like a butcher, I'm like, do you parle inglese? Do you speak English? They're like, no shot. I'm like,
get the hell out of here.
All right. I'm just going to point at the meat I want and buckle up.
Do you speak Italian yet?
Yeah.
Are you getting better? Yeah,
a little bit, but I only speak English with our kids because it's the sort of it's the system where it's tried and true. The mom or one of the parents speaks the mother language. So one parent speaks the mother tongue of whatever language they want to like bestow upon their kids.
Yeah.
And then the other parent speaks the other language. So we've even heard stories where maybe like one parent speaking German, the other parent speaking Spanish, maybe like a nanny speaking, like Romanian or something.
Yeah.
And they're getting hit with like 3 languages, and the kid won't speak for like, 3 years. And the parents like, holy shit, our kid is like a mute. Like he doesn't, they don't speak any language. They're ruined. And then like it'll click, and then they speak, they start speaking all these languages. So a bilingual child can sometimes be a little bit, not stunted. That's the wrong word. Delayed in when they start speaking because they're getting like, hit.
They're downloading a lot.
They're downloading a lot.
Yeah. So I'm super jealous of that. And it's like our kids are learning English and Italian without even realizing it. I just turned 38 in January. Learning Italian, like it hurts my brain. Like when we're at dinner and everybody's speaking Italian, my brain is not a sponge anymore. I have to like engage, and like I feel it. Yeah. I'm not joking. I'm like, when I engage and I'm like, I'm picking up, I know that word. I kind of like, but it's like, you feel your brain. You're like, I'm getting dehydrated. I need some water. Like it's taxing. So, but it's great. I love it.
Yeah, look at you. Look at your life, Jeremiah. A little Italy, little Colorado.
Sounds relaxing in Italy.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds amazing.
It's pretty great. I feel very fortunate. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy for you, Jay. Keep the good work up. Go grab Piano second record. This is going to be exciting. Is there any Italian vibes in the record? Are there some accordions? Are there any bits of Italy can you feel from these tracks?
Man, the only Italian aspect of it is probably there's a song called Spirals on the record that have samples of my son, daughter, and wife, who are all Italian, talking and laughing and playing. That's probably the only Italian aspect of it. There's no accordions, unfortunately. Accordions for piano 3, though. Mark my word.
Let's go.
You heard it here. You heard it here first.
On the a world saving exclusive by Jeremiah. There will be accordions on Piano 3.
It's gonna be all accordion.
Thanks for being on the show, bud. Whatever's going on in your life made you come back to Denver. Hope it's good. Hope you feel good.
Thanks,
and
man.
We're here for you, bro. Thanks for always being here for us.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Cheers.
Jeremiah.
Thank you.
Buddy.